As part of my ongoing series to help new beginners and people getting into anime and manga, here's a top 10 isekai list that I recommend for beginners. So we're going to hop right into it. For those who don't know what isekai is, it's basically getting transported to another world via other means of death or being transported, summoned, etc., etc. So we're going to go with number 10, which is reincarnated as a slime. You follow our main character, Rimuru, who used to be an office worker who ended up protecting his kohai from a random stabber, to which he died, and he got reincarnated to this fantasy world as a slime. To which you follow his misadventures, well, I won't say misadventures, more fortunate adventures, where he discovers and makes friends with these monsters, becomes friends with a super powerful dragon called Vidora, and he gets these powers, and he just lives his life. He just wants to build up a peaceful community, and with the people that he names, because in this world, if you name a monster, such as an Oni, or a goblin, or even a slime, they end up getting transformed and ascend to a higher power, understand more stuff, higher intelligence, etc., etc. The reason why I recommend this as a starter one, for one, it's season 3 is coming out right now as I'm recording on May 9th. Then it's one of the more popular isekais that are coming out right now. Bunch of manga, bunch of spin-offs, bunch of light novels. It's such a good one. And what I really love is they dive into the political aspect of and the world building of the series itself. So you get an insight of what's going on around it, how Rimuru is affecting everyone around him, and why they're looking into his kingdom and what they want to affect and what they want to take away from. It's very good, very well put together, highly recommend. Number 9, Kamikatsu, working for a god in a godless world. I put this in here because if you are a degen, you don't know it, you will find out through this. So let me give you a quick synopsis of this. Under the belief that an omnipotent god, Mitama, will come to save him, Yukito Urabe participates in a ritual to become a new leader of his father's cult. But when the boy drowns during the ritual, he wishes to be reborn in a world without gods or religion. Reawakening in a completely different world devoid of spirituality, he meets a deviant girl named Aurora, who introduces him to her village. However, his idyllic image of the world society is short-lived when he witnesses a public group suicide and learns that the country's end-of-life system. At any moment, the government may order any civilian or citizen to take its life. Aurora and her sister are forcibly taken for an execution soon after, prompting Yukito to rush to their rescue, but to no avail. In the moment of desperation, Yukito recalls his father's teachings and utters a prayer to Minama to save them. Seemingly answering his call, a little girl descends from the sky and annihilates everyone who harmed Yukito and his friends. To surprise, that was the god Mitama. So this show is wild. It devolves into, okay, so this society has no gods, has no one to pray to, etc. Okay, all of a sudden now there's this religion. So they throw in the fact of, all right, we have no gods. Here's a bunch of gods that, come to this place. And it's a very interesting standpoint of basically a science experiment, I would like to call it, but more so of introducing these different variety of gods, these different religions. One's focusing on sex, one's focused on money, one's focused just purely on power and like the struggle of Darwinism. It's very interesting. And then you learn that basically how these gods operate, the more people that pray to them and believe in them and are worshipers, they get stronger, more powerful, which in this world shows how they can actually reign supreme, and then the gods fight each other on top of it. So with our main character, how he introduces and gets people to follow her, he introduces things from his world, from Japan. So when you look at his village compared to the one that's full of miscreants and degens, his is built up. They have windmills, they have tractors, they have cars, etc., etc. So it's a very nice way to compare one religion to another, I guess, suppose. But it also introduces like mythical lore, like Loki and stuff like that. So I'm highly going to recommend this if you want to dip your toes into something that deals with religion, something with farcical, I think is the term, but fake gods, something that can sway the people, something that's very interesting. It's hard for me to describe in words, but it goes up the degen route and it proves that people can be swayed according to this medium. I highly recommend. I know I went on a little tangent that probably doesn't make sense, but I've been showing clips the whole time, so if the clips don't convince you, I'm sorry. At least look up some funny clips. I really think it'd be interesting for you. Number 8, Rising of the Shield Hero. Rising of the Shield Hero is something that's coming out right now. Has a big manga series, over like 25 volumes, I believe. The light novel, I think, is up there as well. I think it's about 22 volumes. It's very popular right now. Season 3 just finished airing. They're going to do a season 4, but you follow this boy named Naofumi, who is just some random college-age student who got transported to this mythical world as a hero to help save this country from the demon onslaught that is coming. And in this world, there are 4 heroes: the sword, the spear, the bow, and the shield hero. Well, Naofumi took on the mantle of the shield hero. That's what chose him. But in this kingdom, people don't like the shield hero. Shield hero to them is a demon. He is a pharmaceutical enemy. He is useless, etc., etc. So you go through this first episode, which I love when the anime does like a 40-45 minute episode to instill what's gonna happen, to build up that feeling how the world works. You basically see Naofumi get framed for a crime he didn't do, and they casted him to the side, to which he becomes a villain of sorts. Basically, he gives into his evil nature. That sounds bad. He gives into the hate and gives into the darker side, to which he ends up getting a slave named Raphtalia. Well, Raphtalia, he ends up actually saving her. She had a cold, and no one knows what the cold is, but he made a quick little thing because of the power of the shield and saved her life. And he enslaved her, but in reality, it's another part of his family. And he ends up going and meeting all these other people, and they end up following him, loving him, seeing that the shield actually is a symbol of good, while the other 3 heroes are actually causing destruction and chaos in their wake because they're saving people, when in reality, it's Naofumi going behind them and cleaning up and saving them. What I really like is the shield has an interesting aspect where it absorbs everything in it, and it can adapt. So basically, you have a skill tree of the shield turning into multiple different things. So every material it absorbs, it can get stronger, it can learn different things, taking monster materials. For one example, you can get a Cerberus head, and the heads will attack. It's very cool. It gets very political in here, and it's a nice little flavor of lots of action, lots of political, world building, sitting back, learning economics in there because he becomes a trader. Very good. Highly recommend. Season 3 just came out, and season 4 is on the way. Lots of materials out there for the public. Highly recommend. Number 7 on the list is Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skill. As these go on, by the way, some of the names for these isekais go wild. Like, it's paragraphs. So just be prepared when you go into the isekai world that's going to be this. But you follow a group of citizens that were summoned to this world. It was 4 Japanese citizens, and amongst them was a salaryman by the name of Tsuyoshi Mukuda. And basically, he has no skill to them. He has the power of the online supermarket, which to the kingdom, this ain't, you can't save anything. You can't do anything with that. When in reality, his skill allows him to purchase things on this website, essentially, and he just magically teleport in front of him. So he can get beer, he can get suyaki, he can get a bunch of different things that you wouldn't be able to get in this fantasy world. But he just cooks. He just enjoys his life. And then he ends up befriending this Firin, which in love with the meat and everything else that he makes, the fried chicken, the pastries he gets, like the red bean paste, like dessert cakes, things that, you can get. It literally follows this guy as he just goes about his day, just living a life and just being a normal person. Well, normal person. But he just sits there and cooks, and he goes on this free adventure. He's like, I'm free to do whatever I want. I don't have to be a salaryman anymore. And I have this giant companion and this little slime that can do a bunch of other things too, which is called Sue, and it's such a cute character. Point is, it's just a chill anime. It's a chill manga. It's a chill light novel. Like, you just sit back, read, and it's just this guy being a guy, and he's just going about his day, and he's learning about how he could accidentally destroy the economy by introducing certain items, like pure sugar, or introducing a different kind of whiskey, or something like that. It's hilarious. Highly recommend, especially if you're looking for a chill, relaxing anime or manga, to read. Number 6, Gate. Thus, the Japanese Defense Force fought in their land. It is a very interesting anime, and it has some controversy behind it as well, which I find hilarious. So let me just read this premise for you while this footage shows. In modern-day Ginza, Tokyo, a portal from another world suddenly appears, and a legion of Roman-styled medieval soldiers and monsters emerge to attack the city. Using modern weaponry and tactics, the Japan Self-Defense Force easily repels the enemy and passes through the gate to establish forward operation bases and infiltrate and initiate peaceful negotiation with the Empire on the other world. Now, basically, you follow this officer called Yoji Itami, who basically he was going to an anime convention or a game convention when this all went down, and he ends up saving as many people as he can. He ends up saving a bunch of civilians, ends up getting this Medal of Honor. It's such a good intro series, like an intro first episode to an anime series I have ever seen. I really enjoy this anime. But basically, you follow this man as he goes to this fantasy world, and basically he's like, oh crap, everything I've read, all these things are true. There's monster girls, there's mages, there's high elves, there's all this stuff, everything a weeb and otaku could ever want. He enjoys it, but he wants to relax at the same time, which is kind of duality. You got this badass who doesn't want to work, but is willing to protect what he wants and will do whatever he has to have a relaxing day or get something he wants. It's hilarious. But what I love is the fact that you see these fantasy creatures going, yeah, we could take them down, and then they roll up with a tank and then just blow them all away. It's hilarious. But the controversy with this is there was a manga. They brought the manga over. The United States and I believe the West only ever got volume 1, if you can find it. People were forced to recall it because they said it was Japanese propaganda for the self-defense force, which it kind of is, but they recalled the whole series in the United States because it was propaganda against the United States, from what everyone was saying. So distributors had to pull them back. A lot of people have them sitting in warehouses somewhere. I'm currently still trying to find a volume. Let me know if you guys find one, because I kind of want one. So if you want a good military fantasy anime, I highly recommend this. It has 2 seasons. It's a wild, good time. Lots of political stuff thrown in the mix of the fantasy world and the real world. It involves the balance because Japan only has access to this gate, so the other countries want access because unlimited resources, the ability to have magic and a bunch of other stuff. It's wild. It's a good time. I highly recommend it. Number 5 on the list is going to be one that throws people for a loop, but Digimon. It is an isekai. And for those who don't know what Digimon are, there are digital monsters. And basically, with the anime, they are inhabitants of a digital world, a manifestation of Earth's communication system. The story tells of a group, mostly preteens, the Chosen Children, who accompanied special Digimon born to defend the world, and ours, from various evil forces, to help them surmount the most difficult obstacles found within both realms. The Digimon have the ability to digi-evolve, which makes them bigger and all that, which I'm pretty sure everyone's seen stuff about Digimon. In the process, the Digimon change appearance and become much stronger, often changing in personality as well. The group of children who come in contact with them in the digital world changes from season to season. So from here, you follow, in the original one, you follow Tai. There's like 6 different variations, there's movies, there's a bunch of other things. But Digimon is a phenomenon that people love all around the world. You can find this anime anywhere. You have a bunch of video games to choose from. Heck, there's a VTuber out there called Digital Hazard who literally is one of the beetle bugs from the second game, I believe. It's a wonderful time. It's a very good kind of anime. A lot of people probably watched it growing up, like Pokemon. Came on around the same era. There was the battle between what's better, Pokemon, Digimon, that kind of stuff. And a lot of people still to this day love Digimon. Digimon goes wild, everyone loves it and endures it, and it's one of those things that you can just look it up, honestly, but I highly recommend giving a watch of the old stuff to get that classic 90s feel, because in 99 it came out, so it was like the end of the 90s going into the 2000s when it came out. Very good time. Anime's everywhere. There's websites dedicated to it. You can probably find it on Crunchyroll if you want, or even on YouTube. It's highly available, and I highly recommend it. Also, check out Digital Hazard, by the way. Very good streamer. Number 4, Sword Art Online. This is one that's super popular. You've seen the cosplays of Kirito. You've seen the cosplays of Asuna. If you ever been to one single anime convention or comic book show, because it's just gone crazy. It follows our main character, Kirito. But in the future, which actually is supposed to be right now, if you go by the timeline they're currently testing, you have these nerve gears, which are these full dive headsets. Well, the release of Sword Art Online came out. It was like a launch title for this. Very big, very important. Well, you had these 10,000 people log in on the first day, and then they get stuck there. So essentially, if they die in the game, they die in real life. And it starts this whole journey. You follow Kazuto Kirito through his journey through Sword Art Online, how he deals with it, how he deals with the death, how he deals with trying to survive. And then he falls in love with this girl named Asuna, and you follow the journeys from there. It is a anime that inspired a whole generation of anime fans, brought non-anime fans into the anime sphere. It brought a lot of haters to lovers. It is something that is very standout and noteworthy, something that everyone should watch. There are 4 different seasons. There's Gun Gale Alternative, there's a spin-off, there's a bunch of mangas, there's a bunch of spin-off mangas, there's a bunch of light novels, there's movies, there's so much to this, and it's non-stop popular and is going to keep on going. And it just finished with Alicization and the War of the Underworld as of late, like last year. So I highly recommend, if you want something very popular, very good, it's just solid. I mean, look, you got the videos playing beside me. It is something very solid and very popular that people love, and the love's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. Heck, they even have multiple video games where you can be the characters and dive into this fantasy world in an alternate timeline and save it. You can be these people. There's D&D campaigns inspired by it. The genre itself was inspired by one that I'll recommend later on, but Da Hack is kind of where this got inspired from. And this whole thing of being stuck in a video game is a very good and interesting concept, and I highly recommend you watch it. It's one of those that impacted anime in such a good way and brought a lot of people to the fandom that you really should watch it. Number 3. Saga of Tanya of Eve. Well, he pissed off one of his workers by firing him, and that worker pushed him in front of a tree. And as this man was falling into his death, God froze time and spoke to him and said, I have a deal with you. I'm going to put you in another world, and where they believe in me, they love me, and I'm going to convert you. To which the guy goes, watch me, it's not going to happen. So from there, he got teleported to this basically post-World War I going into World War II world, where he's basically a little girl that is like bound with powerful magic and is like 7 but leading a platoon of soldiers for this magical Germany. Like, it's wild. And you see her go and kill these people. You see this little 7-year-old girl with this fake smile put on this thing, and it's a very wild war isekai. It's fantastic though. It gets dark, it gets very political, and you see a lot of ties from real world events into here. You can make parallel comparisons to stuff that happened in World War I or World War II that's happening in this anime. And the timeline gives it around like 1914 to 1919, somewhere around there. You see this basically escalating into the end of World War I or World War II. You see where they basically have the United States and they have the United Kingdom, and they call them different stuff, but you see how they interplay with it and how they're like, we don't want to mess with the United States, or we don't want to mess with this country, but it's okay if we mess with the Russians. And you see this big war political conflict take place, and it's so well done. And you have the fact that Tanya is fighting God the whole step of the way, because every miracle that she does, air quote, or every push she makes is because of God's will and all this other things that she stands against. She wants to end God. She wants to fight God non-stop. And it's a very good power struggle, because you see her rising in the ranks, but as she goes up, the praise for God and everything else also goes up as well. Funny, it's very good, very dark, and I highly recommend. The movie is great too, a 2-hour adventure, and you see the struggle of consequences coming through as well. Because at the end of season 1, they go into war, and then it literally picks up from there. They go into this major battle, and it picks up from there, and it's so good. Number 2, No Game, No Life. This is one that a lot of people are going to be like, why are you recommending this? Because in the spring of 2014, this took the world by storm because of how beautiful it was. One of the most iconic anime intros I've ever heard. But let me dive into it real quick. 16 sentient races inhabit this board, a world overseen by Tet, the one true god, the lowest of the 16, humanity, which is consistent of humans, a race with no affinity for magic. In a place where everything is decided through simple games, humankind seems to have no way out of their predicament, but the arrival of 2 outsiders pose a change. On Earth, step-siblings Sora and Shiro are 2 inseparable shut-ins who dominate various online games by the username blank. While notorious on the internet, the pair believe that life is merely another dull game. However, after responding to a message from an unknown user, they are suddenly transported to Disboard. The mysterious sender turns out to be Tet himself, who informs them that about the world's absolute rules. After Tet leaves, Sora and Shiro begin their search for more information and a place to stay, taking them to Elika, humanity's only remaining kingdom. There, the duo encounters Stephanie Dola, an emotional girl vying for the kingdom's sovereignty. In desperation, she attempts to regain her father's throne, but her foolhardiness makes her goal unachievable. Inspired by the girl's motivation and passion, Shiro and Sora decide to aid Stephanie in getting Elika back on its feet, ultimately aiming to become the new rulers of this enigmatic realm. This follows a lot of things. You see a man somehow beat heads or tails, but he couldn't choose heads or tails. You see them play a weird game of chess. You see them play a bunch of mind games, even coming down to basic things like goldfish. It's a wild, good time. It is a very beautiful, well done anime. Yes, it has that weird stepbrother, stepsister kind of thing going on, but puts that aside, it's just their brotherly and sisterly love, which sometimes might take a little bit higher, I think. It's a good, beautiful thing. You see all these different races coming together. Well, I say come together, but I mean by like fighting humanity. You see these people strive to become something better. You see fox girls, which a lot of people love. You see these angel girls, which, oh my god, Jabril, oh my word, that's my favorite right there. But you see these two neats build up this kingdom through games, through building out all this stuff, and it's so popular even to this day. People are asking for season 2. They gave us a movie, No Game No Life 0, which was another fantastic. It's essentially a prelude to what happens for No Game No Life. A lot of people beg for it. It was kind of just a how do I put it? It was just a advertisement for the light novels and the manga, to which the manga only had 3 volumes. So if you want to learn more, read more about it, you got to go to the light novels. But No Game No Life is 12 episodes, super easy to dive into. One of those that can help you figure out what you really like in anime and what you really hate. It's done by Madhouse. So good. Highly, highly, highly recommend. Now, I have some honorable mentions that I still think need to be mentioned out there. Overlord's a very good one, same vibes as Tanya of Evil. Inuyasha, a very classic. A lot of people woke up at 4 a.m. to Toonami being on and seeing the ending scene to it. Highly recommend that. Log Horizon, very good, feels kind of like Sword Art. They came around the same time, but Log Horizon takes a more realistic approach to it. Mushoku Tensei, the father, the peak, the best of isekai everyone agrees with, even though there's some of the opening stuff like people don't agree with, but overall it's a very good show, very good manga. Season 3 is coming out right now as we speak. And ReZero, another one of those that took the world by storm. But what I want to recommend is Konosuba. Konosuba is one of the anime that have made me laugh, dying of laughter nonstop. It follows our boy Kazuto Kazuma, who just is a shut-in otaku. He ends up trying to save this girl, but ends up dying from embarrassment or a heart attack. And he meets this goddess named Aqua, who laughs at him because he died for no reason and he shit his pants at the last second. Very funny, very good. So what Aqua does is she gives him this opportunity. She says, look, I need to send people to this world and I will give you this weapon. Well, apparently it takes too long. Aqua starts complaining and moaning, hurry up, you're taking too long. So Kazuma, being the smart he is, he goes, I'm gonna take you. She goes, wish grand, wait, what? To which Aqua was taken from her goddess palace and sent to this isekai world, where you meet this wizard, Megumin, who literally just wants to build up her explosion magic, nothing else. And she builds upon builds for this magic, and it decimates mountains, it decimates cities, it will flatten the earth. And then but the problem is, as soon as she uses her spell one time, she becomes useless. She falls down. She's a Chinubia too, so she believes in that dark fantasy stuff. And then you have Darkness. Lalatina, God bless one of my favorite characters. She is a crusader, basically a tank, but she's a masochist. So she loves getting hit. She wants to get hit. She wants to be like picked on, bullied in public. It is a wild time. And you follow the misadventures of this crew, to which there is 3 seasons. Season 3 is coming out right now. There is a movie that goes into backstory of Megumin and go to her family, and they defeat another demon king or demon lord's general. Then there's a spin-off series about Megumin before she got to Kazuma. It's such a wild and good time. One of those that I highly, 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 highly recommend. But yeah, those are my top 10 isekais. Let me know what you guys think. I really think this was a good list. This took me a while to record. Like at the time, this was like 30 minutes. I don't know what it's going to come out to be, but I highly recommend all that stuff. I love you all. I appreciate you all. Comment down below what you would recommend for isekais, and I will see you all later. Bye-bye.